So what we're going to be talking about really has to do with human nature and how the brain works, how the brain was created to operate. The brain's default setting is to tell the truth. It was created to tell the truth. That's the crux of this whole thing as far as detecting deception. What the brain knows is manifested in the words that we speak or write. Whatever is up here will manifest itself in some way. And that's a wonderful thing for us, as long as we're doing the right thing and we're on the investigative end. Some people have asked, well, what if you have someone in your class that wants to learn this so that they can then beat the system? And particularly it was someone in internal affairs, and they said, what if one of our people come through and they learn what you're teaching? What if one of those people learns how to be deceptive and do it right? And I said, well, the thing is, because the way the brain was created, they can't beat it. They can't change human nature. They can't change who they are. They can't change the default settings up here. They can't do it. And so there may be some times when I say you'll hear this in your own language. There may be a time when you tell a little white lie. It might be for a good reason, but you'll tell a little white lie and you'll recognize, oh my gosh, I just did one of the principles that Steve told us about in the class, and I'm telling you, it'll take you back. And so it's a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about the brain. After one of the classes, one of the guys came up to me and he said, man, this is like that proverbial crystal ball that we talk about having. And I said, yeah, it's like that crystal ball. I refer to it as the golden nugget, the investigative golden nugget. It makes such a big difference. And it's exciting when you see the information come out in the language. It's really exciting. So our brains formulate a statement based upon all the knowledge that it has. Whatever on the mind manifests in the words. It can't help it. It's just one of those things. It's human nature. Remember this guy right here? His name is Chris Watts. He's from Colorado. Is anyone familiar with this case? Okay, a few of you. So Chris Watts' wife and two little girls, those are the two little girls right there, they went missing. And it was actually a neighbor of Chris's that was a friend of his wife who made the report that she couldn't find her. And so the police contacted Chris, said, hey, where's your wife, basically? And he goes, I don't know. And, she's supposed to be at work, and I thought she was at work or something like that. So anyway, she wasn't found, and the media got a hold of the story and responded to Chris's house and interviewed him on his front porch. So very early in the investigation, Chris is interviewed right there on his front porch. So it's a really good case for us to look at, because it was the first questions were not very leading. They were pretty open-ended, and that's what we strive to ask. And so we got a pretty clean statement from Chris. I want you to listen to I'm just going to play a little clip of Chris's interview. And just out of this little clip, see if you recognize anything that reveals what's on Chris's mind. Chris actually gave away some really damaging information for him. It was very, very telling if the investigators knew what to listen for. Remember, what we're talking about is Chris formulating a statement based upon all the knowledge he has up here. Okay, whatever's up here is going to manifest in Chris' words. So listen and see if you can pick up anything that Chris might reveal.
Do you think she just took off? Do you think?
I mean, right now I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. But I mean, could she just taken off? I don't know. But if somebody has her and they're not safe, like, I want them back now. Like that's what's in my head. Like, if they're safe right now, they're gonna come back. But if they're not safe right now, that's the not knowing part. Like, if they're not safe, last night I had every light in the house on. I was hoping that I would just ran over by the kids running in the door and just like barrel rushing me, but it didn't happen. And it was just a traumatic night trying to be here.
Did you hear anything? So he gave away a key part of this investigation. He revealed something that he knew, that only he could know. Let me ask you something. If your wife or significant other disappeared along with your two very young daughters, tell me, how would you describe that? How would you report it? How would you phrase that to a detective, to a reporter? Just what would you say?
Well, he said that if they're together and they're safe, he had them separated.
Okay, did you hear that? He had them separated. The norm is for us to speak efficiently, and we speak according to human nature. Now, those of you that are moms and those of you that have wife and kids, let me ask you, if your daughters are about this age, very young, is mom going to separate herself from those daughters ever while they're gone? Never, never, ever. Right? Never. So they're always going to be together. And you're exactly right. What's your name?
James.
James. You're exactly right. Look what he did. He said, he was asked, do you think she just took off? He says, I mean, right now, I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. There's so much in this statement, but let me get to this part. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. He actually separated them in his language. Instead of saying, I hope they're safe, I hope they're doing all right, I hope they're found soon, I hope they're being taken care of, he separated. I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. So now we know in his mind that he has just separated those kids, and for whatever reason, they probably will not be found together. They probably won't be found together. So, those of you that know about the case, how were they found? Do you remember?
Separately.
They were separate. They were found deceased. He worked in the oil fields. Mom was in like an oil sludge pit type thing. And where were the kids found? Do you remember? Huh? In the oil containers. Like, what would that be? A barrel. What came out of his mouth? Barrel rushing. Okay? We can't say just because he said barrel rushing that those kids are going to be in a barrel. But it's called brain leakage. What's in the brain manifests in the words, and it's what he knew. It's what was on his mind. He separated them, and regarding the kids, he referred to them as hoping that they would barrel rush him. All right, so Yeah, his wife and kids were found separated, and kids were in a barrel type container. All right. There's a lot more in this as well. Human nature. Okay, if you were going to report your wife was missing or you couldn't find her, what would be your main concern? It's obvious. About them, right? It'd be about them. Their welfare. What's happening with them? Those of you that have investigated missing persons, the de facto innocent reporting party, the one that is reporting them missing, that really has no knowledge about why they're gone, they didn't do anything with them, they're just missing. What is that person? What do we have to do to that person for their own welfare? What do we have to encourage them to do often?
Sit down, breathe.
Breathe, sit down.
Have a loved one there with them.
Yeah. Eat. Why is that? Because do they care about themselves at that point in time? No. They are so focused on wife and daughters and whoever it is that's missing, they don't take time to even take care of themselves. I don't care if I eat. I don't care if I sleep. I can't. I'm just so bogged down with this, with worry about my loved ones. What does Chris do? I mean, could she have just vanished? And he self-censors, says, could she have just taken off? I don't know. But refutes or minimizes what came before it, makes what comes after it more important. If someone has her and they're not safe, I'll want them back now. Like that's hesitation, that's anxiety in Chris's vocabulary, in his mind. What's in my head is like, if they're safe right now, they're going to come back. But if they're not safe right now, that's the not knowing part. Like if they're not safe. Is this confusing you? That's a sign. That's a sign. Confusion. Deception thrives in confusion. Last night, I had every light in the house on. I was hoping that I would just get ran over by the kids running in the door and just like barrel rushing me. But it didn't happen, and it was just a traumatic night trying to be here. What did he do? He personalized it. It's all about him now. I, me. It's all about me. What about the kids, the wife and kids? This is very typical. Deception thrives in confusion and ambiguity. And when the brain senses that whatever it's trying to say is not working, it typically will go to an emotion. Emotion is the oldest sales technique in the world. Emotion sells. And what did he do? He tried to build emotion so that the reporters would feel for him. Feel bad for me. What a traumatic night it was for me. That is very typical. And that's what he did. So there's a lot of signs in there. If I remember, we'll come back to this and break it down even more at the end of class, because there's a lot more in there. But I wanted to show you how, right from the get-go, there's brain leakage here. Chris has revealed wife and kids are separated. Okay? What's in the mind manifests in the words. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter every statement, every interview, every statement that we pick up and read. We're going to go into it believing that they're going to tell us the truth. Okay? It's going to keep you it's going to keep you objective. And you're not going to be looking for deception right away. It's easy to do. Once you learn this, it's easy just to go in and look for the deception. We're actually going to enter those statements believing that they're telling us the truth and let them talk us out of it. If they're deceptive, they'll talk you out of it. They will convince you that they're deceptive. It will be in their words. It'll be in their language. You'll know it. So go into it believing that they're telling you the truth and let them talk you out of it. A couple terms that we're going to cover in the class. One is verbalized perception of reality. It's their perception manifested through their words. Their perception of reality manifested through words. Okay? Verbalized perception of reality. What was Chris's verbalized perception of reality? His perception, what he knew, was that wife and kids were separated. They were in separate locations. That was his verbalized perception of reality. Our job is to have linguistic empathy, where we have a deep understanding of why they use this word or this phrase and why now, or maybe why they use the whole group of words and why they use it at that particular time. It's just a deep understanding of what's going on in their mind. We want to crawl up in their mind. We want to understand. That's what it is, linguistic empathy. Okay? So here's an example. This mother reported her 2 young boys. They were 3 and 1. They were kidnapped at gunpoint. And she reported that they were kidnapped, and this nationwide search was initiated. And within a day or two, reporters spoke with mom and dad. And mom and dad actually have 2 different perceptions of reality. It's different. Look at dad's first. They're okay. They're going to be home soon. What's his perception? It's just that. They're okay. They're alive. The police are going to do their job. They're going to be home soon. What's mom's perception? My children wanted me, they needed me, and now I can't help them. What has she told you? What's her, if you could crawl up in her mind, what's going on up there? Why is she using these words to formulate this statement? What is her perception? What does she know? Huh? Past tense. Past tense. Which means what?
Something already happened.
Yeah, it's already happened. Let me tell you, biological mothers in particular, all mothers, but biological mothers in particular, have a very difficult time processing a death. We all do. We all have a hard time processing death when it's one of our loved ones. We in law enforcement, we see death all the time, and we process it pretty quick. In fact, there's many times we come into a scene and we go, oh, that dude's obviously dead. And it's not a big deal. Like, it's like, oh, we just need one paramedic to come in and make the pronouncement. We're going to preserve the crime scene because this guy's obviously gone. We process it, okay? If you came home from work and found this same scene, you wouldn't process it that quick. I guarantee it, because it's your loved one. You would still want paramedics there working on them, trying to revive them. It would be very difficult. And even if it was an obvious death, you would psychologically have a very difficult time processing, and it wouldn't be quick. Within a day or two, mom will not process that a child is gone. But here, she referred to her kids in the past tense. My children wanted me, they needed me, and now I can't help them. So what's the verbalized perception of reality here? That she knows that those kids are not coming back. We can't say that she knows they're dead, but she knows they're not coming back. Okay? Which most often means they're dead. There's more to this. There's more. In language, mothers that aren't good mothers feel the need to rehabilitate themselves, and they will do it subtly. They will do it subtly. Look what she did. My children wanted me. I'm a good mom. Now this could be two different things, but it's often these things are intertwined. My children wanted me because I'm a good mom. They needed me. I'm building myself up. Now I can't help them. Do you see how she has subtly stated that she was a good mom? It is subtle. You have to pick up on these subtleties in the language. She's just done that. When you see things like that, you know instantly that this was not a good mom. If she has to tell the world that she was a good mom, she wasn't. This is the good mom principle. It could be we also call it the good guy principle. You'll see people build themselves up, and it's often subtle. But the reason they do it is because they know they have not been a good guy, a good mom, and so they build themselves up. Did Dad build himself up at all? No, he didn't. He didn't need to. He didn't need to. This is the Susan Smith case. Okay, Susan Smith left her two young boys in their car seats in the car, and she let the car roll down into the water, and they were drowned in the car. The car was the death machine. So she made up the report. She was having an affair, and the new boyfriend didn't want kids. So she got rid of the kids. She's not a good mom. She's not a good mom. And she told the world in front of the cameras how my children wanted me. They needed me. I'm a good mom. I was a good mom. Now, I said there was two things. Can you picture, let's say the kids were, I don't know what the state of the kids were when they went down in that lake. I'm assuming they were awake. I don't know. But one of the reasons I think that I think they were awake, is because of her language. Can you picture what those kids were doing as they were rolling down in that water? They would be doing what? Reaching out for mom. And the 1-year-old would be doing this, Ma. And the 3-year-old would be crying for mom. And they'd be reaching for her and doing this, which is what they do pre-speech when they haven't learned pronouns to say I or me, or things like that. I want. And because that was probably the last memory that she had of her kids, I think that's part of the reason this came out of her mouth. That my children wanted me, they needed me, and now I can't help them. So, what is in the brain reveals itself in the words. It happens time and time again. This has worked on thousands upon thousands of statements. It continues to work. It never ceases to amaze me how effective this is. Follow the principles you're going to learn today, and you will know what's going on in the people's minds.